Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about TikTok. We're going to talk about TikTok possibly getting banned again, but now for realsies. For realsies, it looks like TikTok might be on its way out the door. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that given how popular the platform is, that it's going to be that easy to just shut it down. I think that somebody is going to step in. Look at all these pop-ups here on CNN. Somebody's going to step in and save the day at the last minute, but it might actually be Donald Trump. Only Trump can save TikTok. Imagine that. And this is, TikTok is, we talk a lot about Blue Sky and, places that are kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, asylums for very, very far left mentally ill people. And TikTok has become one of those places. I do believe that TikTok is maybe not so good for young people because there are a lot of mentally ill people on there putting their ideas out there, and those ideas are getting into other kids' heads. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not for censorship either. I just think you need to watch what your kids are watching or ingesting, right? So the TikTok ban has been on the table for a couple years now because of the accusation that it is a Chinese spyware app. Now, I'm trying to remember the timeline here. If I remember correctly, I think Trump actually proposed the TikTok ban originally, and then Biden ran with it. And again, my memory is a little foggy here. But so Biden, I know, was the one who was actually like, yeah, we're going to ban this if it's spyware. And people thought, well, we have a reprieve. Everything's looking good. TikTok's fine. We had the CEO or the whoever of the American division of ByteDance testifying before Congress, and they just look like a bunch of boomers asking him questions, kind of like when Zuckerberg testified before Congress. And I think everybody kind of forgot about it. They're like, oh, they're not going to ban TikTok. Well, now it's looking like, yeah, it totally could happen. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You know the drill. Clownfish-com got some merch, got some exclusive content out there. You support the reef. You can also go to clownfishtv.locals.com and get that podcast content as well. This comes from CNN. They're still around. Somehow, TikTok's US-based users could have only a few more weeks to enjoy scrolling through their For You page before the app is banned. Starting on January 19th, 2025, a U.S. appeals court on Friday upheld the law that requires TikTok to be sold off from its Chinese parent company ByteDance or face a ban, dealing a major blow to the social media platform that's used by more than 170 million Americans. Yeah, TikTok has basically replaced YouTube with the Utes. YouTube is very popular still, but it feels to me like YouTube is not as popular with younger people as it was 5 to 10 years ago. I think TikTok is kind of usurped it with young people. That's just a feeling I have, because it seems like TikTok is where a lot of the kids are now. And, by kids, I mean teenagers, young adults. And YouTube is more for either little kids programming like CoComelon, that kind of stuff, or like Talking Heads podcast. And I think that's kind of why we're seeing the decline of like gaming content and middle of the road content, is that we don't really have the target audience for that anymore. It's not really on YouTube like it used to be. It's just a feeling I have. I can't really substantiate it. I'm just kind of look at the landscape of like who's really popular on YouTube right now and kind of what they're doing. And just, being a gameplay YouTuber isn't really working anymore. Plus, it's also very saturated, because like everybody's doing it. Speaking of which, Clownfish Gaming, we have a 24/7 live stream out there. Well, it's not live, it's pre-recorded. But a bunch of our previous streams, they're just kind of running like a TV channel. You can check that out. Anyway, so I had to get that in there. But yeah, I never quite got TikTok. Like, we have a TikTok account. We don't really use it. And I know that, and we'll talk more about this as we talk about the Trump factor, but we did a video before that TikTok was courting conservatives. That might be because Trump is the only one that can save TikTok. It said, under the law, app stores could face major fines if they continue hosting TikTok following the deadline. If it's not sold, for users who already have the app downloaded, they likely could continue to use it for a while, but it's not going to be able to be updated, which eventually is going to make it buggy and potentially useless. Well, a lot of these apps are already buggy. While the ruling increases the likelihood that TikTok will be banned, it's not a done deal just yet. Is the case over? They indicated that plans to appeal the ruling to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech. We expect that they will do just that on this important constitutional issue. However, the company suggested it has not budged on its earlier stance that would not separate from ByteDance. The TikTok ban, unless stopped, will silence the voices of over 170 million Americans here in the U.S. and around the world on January 19th, 2025. What I am afraid of as a YouTuber is that they're all going to come over here, and what's going to happen is it's going to be all shorts. Like, I know people don't like shorts. We've done shorts before. They tell us at YouTube to do shorts because that's what the algorithm likes. But I hate shorts, and you hate shorts, and most people hate shorts. But the Utes like it. So it's very possible that all these weirdos are going to come over to YouTube, and they're going to drown out the people that have been here for a long time. This happened with Vine too. There was a whole surge of people that came in from Vine, and they came over to YouTube, and they kind of drowned out some of the people that made YouTube their primary platform. And the other option is they go over to Facebook and they start using Instagram and Reels more. But I think a lot of people now just kind of post the same content on multiple platforms because they don't know which one's going to be big. Remember Snapchat? Yeah, that was big just a couple of years ago. Nobody cares now. It said beyond a successful appeal, there are a few other ways TikTok could be delayed or avoided, including potential support from President-elect Donald Trump after he takes office. Joe Biden could technically grant a one-time 90-day extension to the deadline, although he has not indicated he will do so. Why would he? Why would he? So here's where we're going to get into the meat of the video. TikTok's two paths to avoid being shut down. Beg the Supreme Court or woo Trump. And they're already wooing Trump. They actually have Trump on the app now. I think they knew this was going to happen. This is why they want conservatives. For the longest time, conservatives were not welcome on TikTok. It was openly hostile. It was like going to Blue Sky and saying you're MAGA, right? You're not allowed to do that unless you want to get dogpiled. But now they openly want conservatives. And the reason they do is because they're trying to suck up to Trump. So yeah, they said that the TikTok loss could lead to a U.S. ban next month. This has come from Ars Technica. According to the court, the law satisfies the high bar of strict scrutiny because the law is narrowly tailored to protect national security. The government successfully argued that the U.S. had two compelling national security interests in passing the law. The first was to prevent the People's Republic of China from spying on Americans through TikTok, and the other was to block the PRC from covertly manipulating TikTok content. That is actually my bigger concern about TikTok, is it does feel like it's kind of a psyop. It feels like Americans are being shown a lot of fringe content to turn them against each other and just make them plain weird. Just make them weird. Just make people weird and agitated. And, there's a reason that the Libs of TikTok account exists on X. It's because there's so many weird accounts out there posting nonsensical, mentally ill stuff. And the algorithms seem to push that. Now, in China, it doesn't. Right? Because obviously China is not on board with a lot of this, ideology anyway. But I'm just saying, like, their TikTok is pretty normal. Our TikTok is not. And it doesn't take much to go down that rabbit hole either. Like, all you got to do is find like one mild whatever video, and the next thing you know, your entire, because I've seen it happen in real time with our daughter who uses TikTok, or did use TikTok more than she does now. But like, I've seen it, and it's like you watch like one or two videos and it gets recommended. Next thing you know, your entire timeline is more and more content along the same veins. And that's kind of how YouTube used to work. And it doesn't really work that way anymore, but yeah, it just kind of like just sucks you in, man. Sucks you in. And it's all about engagement too. So they said TikTok is likely to appeal to the Supreme Court. They said they're unsurprisingly frustrated with the ruling. In a statement provided to Ars Technica, TikTok spokesperson Michael Hughes confirmed TikTok is going to appeal the case to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech, and we expect they will do just that. Through the litigation, ByteDance had emphasized that divesting TikTok in the time that the law required was not possible. Yeah, I mean, how are you going to find a buyer for TikTok in, like, what was it, less than a year or something like that? Like, there's no way. Elon Musk, it'd be ZikTok or something. But yeah, it's very hard to do that. The court disagreed that ByteDance being unable to spin off TikTok by January turned the U.S. law into a de facto TikTok ban. Instead, the court suggested TikTok could temporarily become unavailable until it's sold off, only facing a ban if ByteDance dragged its feet or resisted divestiture. And I think if I remember correctly, they wanted to sell TikTok, or they'd be open to selling the platform, but not the algorithm. They didn't want to sell the algorithm. And it could be that they don't want to sell the secret spice to their competitor, the secret sauce, or it could be that if people dissected the algorithm, they would see that, yeah, actually, the algorithm was designed to stir up as much activism and bullshit and insanity over here as possible compared to the Chinese version of it. I'm just saying. So there's no indication yet that ByteDance would ever be willing to part with its most popular product. And if there's no sale and the Supreme Court declines the case, that would likely mean that TikTok would not be available in the US, as providing access to TikTok would risk heavy fines. Yeah. So how could Trump stop the ban? Trump could intervene in several ways. At the very least, he could delay the ban by granting TikTok a 90-day extension to buy more time in the U.S. before divestiture is required. The ruling noted, but that option is only available if ByteDance shows progress that's working towards selling it off. Some TikTok fans may find it encouraging that while campaigning, Trump indicated that he doesn't want to ban TikTok anymore. So this is really interesting. TikTok, at least I thought for the longest time, absolutely hated Trump. Not the company itself, but the users. And now they might need Trump to save their asses, just the irony in all of this. It's its significance. It's part of the reason that the court sided with the feds was because everyone in office was seemingly aligned that a ban or divestiture was urgently needed. Experts told The Verge that Trump could also potentially find another solution to resolve national security concerns, like, likely something stronger than TikTok's attempts to avoid a ban with Project Texas. Trump could change his mind, support the ban if he warms to the idea of finding a U.S. buyer for TikTok. Elon Musk. Could Musk buy TikTok? Maybe. I mean, maybe they could be like, yeah, we'll just roll TikTok into X. God, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something to have Twitter and TikTok under Musk? I'm not saying it's a good thing necessarily, but it would be a very interesting turn of events, because Twitter and TikTok for the longest time were very progressive strongholds, and Musk would have control of them. And by extension, Trump would have control of them, since Musk is his BFF now or something. Or just like Kato Kalin, like a house guest that never leaves. Boy, that really dates me. Google Kato Kalin if you need to, and find out who he was, the house guest that never leaves. So I don't know, guys. This is interesting. So yeah, TikTok could end if they don't do something about it. And Trump might decide, yeah, I don't really care about TikTok. It was fine for the time. Thanks for letting me back on the platform. But Elon Musk is my buddy. He's got video on his platform. We don't really need TikTok. We got Facebook and we got YouTube. And I can almost guarantee you that all these other platforms are going to be actively rooting for TikTok's demise. And remember, Zuckerberg and even the CEO of Google have already met with Donald Trump. And they might actually be I'm going to be honest, they might all be conspiring. And I think Elon Musk actually sat in on those calls. It might be like, hey, we can take down TikTok, and there's more for us. I'm just saying, that's how CEOs think, guys. They're like, hey, we can all kind of, my enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they take down TikTok, which is a huge threat to all these platforms. Take it down, and then they divide the audience up amongst themselves. And I can see that happening too. I don't know. I would just say now's a really bad time to go all in on TikTok, because it's not going to be around much longer. And this is why we don't update over there. Ever since they announced the ban, I'm like, what's the point? Seriously, what's the point? Because I don't know if it's going to be around. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.